goes Ohtani, and he's got that thing stolen easily. Oh my gosh, what a jump.
He stands alone for Japanese-born sluggers, passing Hideki Matsui. It's the record! The throw ricochets into shallow center field, and Ohtani takes throw to third is into left field. Generates the first run of the game by himself. Number 100 of his career, Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani's doing it again. That man is just built different. There's another Ohtani homer. Has no chance.
Forget about it. A massive shot. Wow.
First Dodger with 30 and 30 since Matt Kemp in 2011. He's going to steal it. Number 40 for Shohei. 40-40. Walk-off grand slam. Shohei Ohtani leading the moment. It's bobblehead night. RBI number 100. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Man, and a lot of people at the beginning of the year were talking a little shit on our $700 million man. And he ain't even pitching yet, fellas. Welcome to the best MLB prop show on God's green earth. I'm your host, Sharpie's Bets. And it's Friday, not just any Friday, the second to last Friday of the regular season baseball. And we've got the only guy that I speak K-props with. My guy, Spin, how you been, my boy?
Doing good, doing good. Yeah, we're getting to the end of the regular season, so there will come a day very soon when there'll be a lot less pitchers to cap, but we still have, we still have 2 weeks of everybody going with more games, so let's take advantage of it. There's a lot of number one, number two starters going tonight. Just happened to be how it worked out. So yeah, I actually, man, I know you said that, like, I know before the show you said like, kind of was iffy about the card. There's actually a lot of spots that I kind of like on the card, and some with a lineup I might really, really like. So yeah.
I mean, 2 days ago, I had 10 lineups done, bro. That's the most I think I've done in one day, bro. And yesterday didn't get any, like, less. But today, I don't know. It just seems like the books are playing their games. And it's just like, dang.
Yep.
Why can't I play my game? Well, my game is here. His name is Jose fucking Barrios at the Rays, guys. And on this show, we're going to talk the opening lines of pitching props as well as the closing K-prop line 30 minutes prior to the show going live. So do me a favor, if you like what you're hearing and you haven't smashed that like button, smash that like button. And if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button as well. Jose Barrios, guys, striking people out 19% of the time while walking people 6.5%. Morning line 5.5 plus 120 on DK. That is still the same exact line. Pitching outs 18.5 minus 195 to the under, whereas earned runs are at a 2.5 at a pick'em. Projected lineup is now the lineup: 5 righties, 4 lefties. The only switch we have is a catcher for Rort Vettel. Let's talk Barrios.
All right. Well, as we usually do on this show, I don't talk a ton of Barrios because I know that he's your guy. But I mean, when you're looking against the Rays, over is the only way that you can look. They ever since the trade deadline, I've talked about this on numerous shows here and elsewhere, is that if you're going to play a prop on the Rays, you just have to play over or you have to pass. So the Rays against right-handed pitchers since August 1st, right-handed pitching since August 1st, not only do they have a very high strikeout rate, 27.7%, but they also have a very, very low walk rate. And that differs from the Rays that you saw right after the trade deadline. They actually, their lineups right after the trade deadline had a lot of, not a lot of contact, but also not a lot of swing. So their walk percentage was up around 8 to 9, sometimes even 10%. So I think that's something to look at too, because you have Barrios where, yeah, he's on the road, but he only walks guys 6.5% of the time on the road. Doesn't walk too many guys, just period in general. But to my point about the Rays, they do have one of actually the highest chase rate in baseball over the last 2 weeks, 37.1%, and only a 57.6% contact rate, which is almost 4 percentage points under MLB average across all games and all pitchers. The big thing that's bottomed out for them, though, is that they're swinging more in the zone. Right after the trade deadline, you saw them, league average is 69.5. You saw them in the 66 to 67% range. Over the last 2 weeks, they've just been hacking. 71.4% swing rate, which is one of the highest. And not only one of the highest, but they also have the second lowest contact rate. So they're swinging more, they're making contact less. Looking at the projected lineup, even without guys like Jose Siri, it's pretty easy to see why. So you already have a mix that is going to mesh well for Barrios, even though his personal contact rates are above pitcher average, or worse than pitcher average, I should say. But where I go with this one, and why I'm not opposed to a look on the over 5.5, especially at plus money, even with this lineup, is that walk percentage. When you're not walking guys, when you're throwing strikes as Barrios does, and you have a team that is swinging very, very freely, as their metrics have shown, and in fact, some of their guys are swinging way more than they were before, you have a situation where you can rack up strikeouts. Umpire just got announced for this, or just got released for this one. David Rackley, overall, he is pretty neutral. His strikeout to walk ratio for the season, 2.81. Umpire average is 2.79. So consider him a neutral umpire. Umpire should not be a factor in this one. So this one is on Mr. Barrios and the 9 hitters that he's facing. I don't know if I feel confident enough about this one to take a full unit over 5.5, even though the plus money is nice. But look, if you're going to take a prop against the Rays, over is the only option. You can't go under here. You could consider it briefly, consider it in the right mix back right after the trade deadline when their swing rates were under. They actually had some under opportunities for pitchers that don't throw strikes very often, that don't operate in the zone, because when they did get ahead, their strikeout percentage went down considerably. That's not happening anymore either. So if they're going to hack like they have been, especially against the slurve and Barrios's breaking pitches, then there are many scenarios where he could hit this.
Yeah. I really wish they would have just gave me the fucking projected fucking lineup, because then it would have been all easier. And
Put Siri in there. Get Siri in there. Get Walls in there. Come on.
Bro, why is not Siri and Walls in this lineup?
Siri and Walls, man. That's what we need.
Even Robert Vettel, who said he hadn't struck out to him, I freaking wanted him in the lineup, but I don't think I'll bitch about the guy they put in. But let's talk about it, guys. Am I going to bet Barrios? Yes. Just how do I bet Barrios? And let's talk about it. This will be the 3rd time that he gets to see the Rays. Very first year, he went, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, struck out 6. And then, like you said, after the trade deadline,
Sharpie,
back on July.
You froze.
Did I freeze? Oh, no. Hello. Am I there? Or are you there? No, I think you froze, bro. Hey, chat, question. You froze.
There we go. Now I'm back.
All right, it wasn't me. I was like, oh, I heard you.
No,
so I went back and checked
me.
and stopped talking about it.
No,
all right,
it's
cool.
me. My bad.
No worries, bro. No worries. I'm glad. I'm that's fine. All right, let's get to it, guys. So Jose Barrios, projected lineup, I look for chase contact. You already know that by now. I mean, I do not hide how I get to my bet with Jose Barrios. And now this is one of those freaking weird ones where all of his metrics mean absolutely fucking nothing. I mean, like my man next to me was saying, you look at his play discipline metrics, he's worse than league average at fucking everything. He just looks like he's just some crap ass pitcher. But for some reason, the good Lord Almighty has let me figure out how to bet them, guys, and it's been chase contact and pay attention to past history. Past history has been a coin toss. It's been one of those few times this year where I have stayed off, and it's been 3-2 in Barrios' favor in those ones. I try to bet to win. I don't try to bet to go 3-2, even though that's a winning record. Don't get me wrong. But if I don't see a clear cut advantage, then I let it go. In the projected lineup, we have 6 of 9 who are worse than league average at chase contact. The 3 good guys being Diaz, who has not struck out in 15 at bats versus Barrio, Aranda, who's only struck out 1 of his 5 at bats, and DeLuca, who was projected in the 9 hole, but yet hasn't seen him. Now, one issue for me here is those 3 are in the top 5 of the lineups, which means you're going to see them at least 3 times, and we're going to have to project a strikeout from at least one from every other guy. And that's what I come up with, guys. I've got 6 guys that are terrible at chase contact. Granted, one of them is a kid, so we really can't freaking tell much about it. But the past history of the guys who have seen them that are bad at chase contact, we've got Lowe struck out 5 of 14 at bats. Caminero hasn't seen him. Morel struck out 1 of 4. Caballero's 1 of 4. And the other Lowe's 3 of 10. He can literally get every guy with the chase contact one time. There are a few guys he can get twice. Now, when I've lost him, it's been by the hook. 21-3, 3 losses by the hook. This is one of those spots, guys, where it's telling me, like, dang, he could end on 5. Like, if he ends on 5 today, I'm not going to get kicked in the nuts because I could see it. There's 3 guys that are going to be an issue. Now, if he gets one of them, I'll jump in live and bet a gosh. I'll bet the juice on the 5.5. But 3 guys are going to be tough, and they are projected in the top 5 spots. Now, that doesn't mean I'm scared. I mean, that's fine. FanDuel is moving to plus 124 the last I just checked, so they're moving it. And if they want to go to a 4.5 juice, then I'll fucking fuck with them some more. But right now, I don't have a bet. I'm waiting for other lineups to come out so I can alt 5 Barrios to somebody else. And right now, Garrett Cole at 5 to Barrios is minus 120. And hooked up to Charlie Morton's 5, it was even money. Just some guys we're going to talk about that I was looking at that I may pull them down with depending on the lineups we get. But half unit shot probably I will end up on the 5.5, but I will probably have at least a unit on the 5 personally, just in case shit goes sideways. And yeah, I've got to pay attention to that because the way this lineup's constructed and the kid at the bottom, I can't take nothing from the kid. There's 3 guys that are going to be tough. That leaves 5 guys I've got to get 6 from. That's asking a lot from a guy named Jose Barrios, who struck out 19% of people that he's faced this year. So it's over or nothing. I think pull down the 5 is the way to go. I think that's the safer way to go. I am a safer type bettor. I'd rather be safe than fucking sorry. And like you said, if he keeps the walks down, the 6 should be there. He walked 6 fucking Rays last time he had 5 strikeouts, guys. Like, you walk one less person and get a strikeout. Oh, come on. But we got that 4.5 last time. That's all we needed. It's at 5.5 now. It's a different lineup, but it does have a few scary pieces in it. So haven't pulled the trigger, waiting on other lineups to come out so I could then hook the 5 up to something else. Anything else?
No, not for this one. The only thing is that if you want, just because Yandy Diaz is such a high contact guy, granted the other 2 we'll see. What's that?
You were going in and out.
Oh, okay.
Making sure that you were there. That's all.
Am I good now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you look through some of his results just recently, you'll see that early on there's not a lot of they're just not a lot of Ks from the top of the lineup. If you want to play that angle and maybe look to see if you can get a 0K first inning and then play the see if you can get an over 4.5. That might be an option too, but I would be on board with Sharpie about the 5 is probably where I'd be more comfortable playing this one.
The middle of the lineup seems like back-to-back dead spots with Aranda and DeLuca. And it's like, I hate going in inning not thinking I can get one strike. I think I was like that the other day, and it
Mhm.
was just like, I'm in the wrong part of the lineup to be wanting a fucking strikeout, and I don't want to be on 5 strikeouts heading into Caminero, Aranda, DeLuca needing Caminero. Like, you've got to get him, or I'm dead.
Yep.
And that's how it was with Eflin last night for me. It was like I
Yeah.
had 4 in the first 2 innings, had 2 strikes on 6 straight batters, doesn't get Fitzgerald for the 3rd time in the game with a 2-strike count, and Bailey comes up, and everyone's like, "We got one more shot," and I'm like, "That's the one guy we don't got a shot." Where it's just like,
Yep.
we're
Yep.
done.
And no, and to your point, DeLuca has actually made really good contact lately too.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got 3 dead spots in what I look for, and they're in the 4, 5, and 1 hole. So it's just
Yep.
like, I'm gonna probably pull him down to 5, and then if he goes dead in the first inning, and I'm not gonna jump in live if it goes freaking 1-2 DeLuca fucking. I'll jump in on another number. I'll look to go live, and that's where the people who pay me can jump in too, because it's just easier to drop it in our chats. Because as I'm not trying to tweet out, half of them can't even get to it, bro.
Well,
And it's just like a live bet. You got to sign into your book, give them the 6 fucking codes,
yep.
and then get to the bet and it's
Well,
moved. It's like, come on.
well, the other thing with live bets too on K props, and I've actually run into this doing it for my VIP, is that unless I'm doing it between innings, it's really really hard to get it out where the odds match up, just because with every pitch it changes so quickly, and obviously the books updates are more live than whatever stream we happen to be watching. Even if you're watching it on television, the books are still 45 to 50 seconds more live, which obviously gives them an advantage. But things just adjust so quickly. It's hard to get
Very
it out
few,
unless you're
yeah,
going to do
have
it.
to be in between. I don't even think half the guys got my sale one that I gave out, bro. And there
Yep.
was plenty of time when I seen that one. It was still the middle of our inning, and I was like, "Oh, we're dead."
Yeah.
Some dude, like, dude, his velo was down so bad in that last start. Sliders in the 70s, his fastball topping out at 90.
93.
93 was like the first 3 innings.
Yeah.
And then it started going to 91, 89, and I'm like, no, that's his changeup. Then he'd throw a changeup and it'd be 82, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't get De La Cruz, I thought I was dead. I was
Yep.
like, this is my last shot at 6. This is it. This is it. I will not bet Chris Hill for the rest of the year. You just heard that right here, guys. I wish him the best, but that dude is either gas tired or something's wrong. I hope
Yep.
that's the first. Because I hope we get to demolish in the playoffs for the Dodgers. Probably not. I'll bet on Chris Hale that day. But let's talk Charlie Morton at the Marlins, striking people out 24.5% of the time while walking people 9%. Morning line 5.5 minus 160 on FanDuel, 6.5 everywhere else. Best line available now is 6.5 plus 122 on FanDuel. Pitching out 17.5 minus 170 to the over, whereas earned runs are at 2.5 minus 170 to the under. Projected lineup is 5 righties and 4 lefties. Lego Morton. I believe you actually were on Morton last time he played Miami.
Yep. So the first thing that I was looking to correlate here is with the umpire, because we do have Carlos Torres behind home plate. He is a hitter's umpire. Actually, a very, very low strikeout rate, 14.81, which is actually one of the lowest totals among the 91 umpires, or 91 that have umpired a game this year. A 2.39 strikeout to walk ratio, which is also very low. So you have an umpire that actually keeps it pretty tight around the plate. So then you go over to the Marlins and you look and you see that they are chasing slightly above league average. They are swinging in the zone slightly below league average, and their contact rate is below in the zone and above average outside of it. So with Morton, he does operate in the zone right at league average. And the thing that he usually causes him to get strikeouts is that chase contact, only allowing 51.3. That's way below pitcher average of about 57.8. And when he's getting guys to chase on his curveball, which is his most off-thrown pitch, then he can get strikeouts and he can rack them up. The thing that I worry about on with Morton is that the Marlins are making contact, at least recently, specifically the middle and the bottom of their order, chasing a lot more than they have been prior, and a lot more, and actually above their averages for the season. And so that doesn't correlate very well with Morton, who needs those chase contact whiffs to get strikeouts, specifically on his curveball. Then I look and I see that we have an umpire who has a very, very low K rate to begin with. And so, yeah, I mean, can Morton hit this? Sure, he can. I mean, the Marlins are always a place to look for potential strikeouts, but there. But I look at Morton's walks prop, which has been at 1.5 pretty consistently, with the exception of his last start on September 15th against the Dodgers. But you look at like 8 or 9 before that, it was at 1.5. We're up at 2.5 today. His earned runs were hovering between 1.5 and 2.5. They're up at 2.5. And yeah, part of that could be because he's on the road. But when you combine all of these things together, specifically with the umpire, with a team that has the swing profile that Miami does, I'm not sure that I like this one as much as I did when I woke up this morning. We also do not. We also have Parita at catcher, which is also good for strikeouts. But 6.5 is just a really, really big number for a guy who is averaging right around 24% on the road, and more specifically 22.3% to righties on the road. And the Marlins are running 6 of them tonight. So when you combine it all together, I certainly don't want to pay crazy juice for an under prop on the Marlins. I also am not convinced about the 7+ here, so I'm probably going to let this one go. But if you are playing it, I mean, you could pull it down to 6 if you wanted to. I just have a real issue, even in a circumstance like this, taking an under on the Marlins.
This sucks. This Pareda kid's had like 75 at bats.
Yep.
The only good thing about Fortes, and I know he's one son of a bitch to tough son of a bitch to strike out.
Yep.
He struck out 4 of 11 times to fucking Morton. So I was like, you're going down. You can't hit that curveball, baby. But he ain't in the lineup. They know he struggles versus him. So let's talk a little Charlie Mimo and the Marlins. Charlie Morton gets the Marlins, another person seeing a team for the 3rd time this year, where back in Miami, Morton gave up 6 runs, yet had 8 strikeouts at the first time. Seen him again in August in Atlanta, where Morton had a solid 6 innings, no-run ball with 6 punch-outs. And I brought up the home road, guys, because going back to 2021, it's either been the same or a big difference to Charlie Morton at home than on the road. Not just having a better ERA at home, his strikeouts have followed. Well, it's 2024, and Charlie Morton is starting to come back the other way. What I mean by that, guys, is this year his earned runs are still better at home than on the road by a solid run. It's his K percentage. What has normally been deadly at home is actually 1% worse at home this year than on the road. Well, good news is he's on the road where his K percentage goes up 1%. Yet bad news, like I said, he likes to give up his cheeks on the road. And this is a division game, guys, so it's going to have to force me to bet this. And when we look at Morton's plate discipline metrics, we see a guy who is league average in zone contact in getting people to chase. So as well as the past history, I'm going to have to check on these guys, see who's bad at zone contact, and then see who chases. And then I'll go look at his pitch mix. And when I ran this projected lineup, granted, now we're going to throw out Fortes, but Fortes was elite zone contact, elite chase contact, and did chase. There was the one guy who's going to pop up in the 1 or the number 2s of reading these guys' numbers because they're ass. And 7 of the 9 projected chase, yet 2 that don't chase have elite elite chase contact and zone contact, and being Edwards and Bride. So you're probably not getting them. And the other person, everybody else chases. Now the problem here is Charlie Morton does have good chase contact, but Bride and Edwards have better chase contact than Morton. They do not chase, and I think they're two dead spots. Another person where it says he should destroy him, Berger. Berger hasn't struck out one time in 9 at bats. It's a big fat goose egg right there, guys. The guy's zone contact, chases, and chase contact is boo boo cheeks, but yet he has Charlie Morton's number when it comes to striking out. Like you said, can he hit 7 today? Yes, but it's literally going to come off of like 4 or 5 guys. Can he get freaking Norby twice? Yes. Can he get Sanchez twice? Yes. Can he get Stowers twice? Yes. Can he get Conine twice? Yes. So it's over or nothing, guys, but I would like to think I can get more than I think we got 3 dead spots with Lopez, Bride, and Edwards. So I may pull him down. That may be the only way I look to bet him personally. But it's over or nothing with the amount of chase, and like we all both say all the time, bro. Like these hitting umpires, they only mean something if you're gonna take.
Yep.
And for the most part, we got a bunch of people who chase, and Fortes is out the lineup, so we got 3 people league average or elite with chase contact, being Bride, Lopez, Edwards. So he does strike out lefties better than righties. And of these guys where the meat of the bone is, Conine, Stowers, and Sanchez are lefties who struggle at everything. And when we look at the one guy who's seen him in there, Stowers, not enough at bats, but struck out 2 of 3. Conine ain't seen him. And then Sanchez, the guy who has seen him, has struck out 8 of 23 at bats. So he can literally get 5 off of just 4 guys, and maybe 6 off of those 4 guys. So I will probably be looking to pull him down, hooking him up to Barrios at a 5-5, probably for a half unit, but don't have the bet in. Probably will be looking to put the bet in now that the lineup's out. And the way that they position the lineup is going to make me pull the trigger on the 5-5 right there, guys. They put Bride and Lopez in the 5-6 hole. Okay, so I get Stowers, Sanchez, and Norby mass action at those guys. I got 4 from them just alone. He can get Conine and Pareda, so I think pulling him down is going to be the safe way, and that's probably the way I'm going to bet Charlie Morton today.
Yeah,
I ain't really got more else to say about him, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me.
You went blank, but you back? Guess not. He said boo boo cheeks. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump on into the next guy. Hopefully, Spin's internet pops back in and out, and we're back to doing it. I do hear you in the background, Spin. I'm gonna pull you off while you get your stuff ready. I don't want you saying something where they be like, "Oh, look what he just said." But let's get on to the next guy. Spin's getting his internet ready, and we're gonna talk George Kirby at the Rangers. And you back?
Back.
All right, cool. George Kirby at the Rangers, striking people out 23% of the time. We'll walking people 3% on the year. Morning line 5.5 plus 110. Best line available, still 5.5 plus 110 on DK. Pitching out 17.5 minus 185 juice to the over. Earned runs 2.5 minus 155 juice to the under. Projected lineup is 5 righties and 4 lefties. Let's talk Kirby.
All right. So a lot of history here, first of all, and not a lot of it is very good for Kirby. So you have Duran, who he's only gotten once in 11. You have Heim, who's only gotten 3 out of 17. Even Adolis Garcia, who can be a strikeout candidate, 2 out of 18. Simeon, 2 out of 23. I mean, I could just go on and on, but there's a very low K history here to begin with. So, but you also have Kirby, who this is a back-to-back, but it's also a home to road back-to-back. And they didn't move his line, so there's nothing really that the books see that to me that would indicate anything that would give you an angle there. So I lean on a couple things with Kirby. Number one is the past history because it is so low. Only 22% K percentage overall, and some of those really low totals that I mentioned. The other thing that I look for here is that Kirby operates in the zone 51.9% of the time, and he gets a lot of his whiffs in that zone because he allows zone contact under pitcher average. Now, the Rangers going up and down their projected lineup don't have many guys that are under in that zone contact, which is probably why they don't strike out very much against them. It's evident in their team number as well. Since August 1st, 86.6% zone contact against a league average of 85.3. So they're swinging more in the zone, which is where Kirby operates, and they're making more contact in that zone as well. So in the absence of really, there's really nothing in these lines that tells a story that you should look one way or the other. So in a case like this, I'm actually looking at the under here. It's still pretty reasonable juiced on FanDuel at minus 125. But you give me these a lot of these veteran hitters who have good history against Kirby anyway. And I just think it's a little too much to ask for him to go on a back-to-back into Texas with the low K history that he had and get 6. I'm not seeing a whole lot of paths to 6 unless the Rangers lineup looks something much different than the projected. Because even if you go and you look at some of the other guys that they could put in there, a lot of those guys have low Ks against Kirby as well. So with this one, this might be the one to me where sometimes, I know like Sharpie, you and I talk about we try to like figure out what the books are thinking and if there's like a super secret like trap angle that they're working. I don't think that exists here. I think this is just one where they just lined it straight up based on numbers. And if you're going to get me straight up based on numbers for this one for Texas with the past history, I will go under on this, but it is up in the minus 140 to minus 150 range on every other book, I think right now, but FanDuel. So I'm not sure that I'm really like excited about paying minus 145 for an under 5.5 for this one. But if you can get it at minus 130-ish, maybe a little bit less, then 5.5 holds interest in it.
That it got me right. Woo. Yeah, I'm pretty much. Actually, I'm leaning the other way on this one, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna bet it. Kirby gets the Rangers on a back-to-back when he just went 7 innings, gave up no runs, yet had only 3 strikeouts. And when we get the same number we had last week when it comes to his K prop of 5.5, that's what should happen. Yet in the Phillies game, we have a back-to-back with Peterson, and the books jumped him up one. So you might want to dig into that game because the books are saying he's going to smack today if you read in between the lines. But back to Kirby. As this will be his 3rd time seeing the Rangers, as that popped up like every freaking game today. This year, guys, and after last week's back-to-back in June's, he went 6 innings, gave up 1 run, had 6 strikeouts in the first game, and then, like I said, had 3 last week. Now, with Kirby, it doesn't mean much to me how the other team is playing unless it comes to making his line. Yet, it's a back-to-back, and the line should be the same, so I didn't have to do that work. The work I do with Kirby has to do with zone swing percentage, combine it with zone contact, as he is a guy who, like my guy next to me said, pounds the zone with a sinker, and those things can be deadly to a K-prop over, as well as putting a lot on the chase contact, as that's the one spot in his plate discipline metrics where he's worse than league average. And when we look at how Kirby has done versus the top 7 chase contact teams, he is 3-4 to the over 5.5. Now, Kirby falls under the if he goes low, we can go high, and vice versa. The question is, do I really want to ride Kirby on a back-to-back? And let's go check out this projected lineup and see what we come up with. And damn it, guys, it seems to be an over or nothing spot to me. As we have 4 guys who are better than league average at chase contact, yet we have what should be 4 dead spots, meaning they swing in the zone with good zone contact. Yet 2 of them have past history that says he can get them at least one time. And then when we look at what says they should go down to Kirby, old like he was saying, Adalis the Bum Garcia, he don't strike out to him. So it's like some of these numbers are just ass backwards with how many times he's seen him, that whether he goes out there and gets Smith, who is struck out 25% of the time, or gets Adalis, who doesn't strike out to him, one of them is going down, in my opinion, today. And when I go through all their past history, there's 5 guys that were going to strike out today, if not low strikeout twice. And on a back-to-back with a guy who pounded the zone the first time out, and I seen the way Raleigh was calling the game and listened to it yesterday, I expect them to come out with a different type of game plan, to throw a whole lot more breaking pitches. And with the amount of chase contact and people that do not swing in the zone, or that do swing in the zone, that, I mean, I just went back and forth. So everything but the zone contact. The zone contact says fly under, fly under, fly under. Something tells me today he's not going to be on. He's not going to do it. I looked at his back-to-backs. One time he had 7, then he had 5 the next. Then he had like 10 and 11 spots. So it's not like the dude can't change up his pitch mix and come back in there with a whole different game plan. So was thrown. I wanted the under on him last week. Didn't get there, and I'm not gonna get there today. I'm just gonna let this one be. I hate these freaking in-division games. Then again, I'm over there betting Barrios probably
deep in the season. Yeah, they've seen the pitcher and vice versa 1,000 times in a short proximity. It's what I tell my people, and then this is what I see for some of, well, and Kirby might be this way too. Actually, Kirby's this way now too. Is like when you have like both sides are reasonably to lightly juiced, and it's a 50-50 shot. Well, that's on purpose, because if it's a 50-50 shot, then no matter what side hits, the books make money. That's actually how they make money, right? So yeah, in those in these division games, I either try to play it just straight up, meaning like straight by the math, by the numbers, or I don't play it at all.
Me personally, after last year, and I mean, there's going to be another guy we're talking about very shortly, actually next. It's hard for me to go put my money behind people that have a vagina inside of them. I mean, you're a grown-ass man, and you are a vagine. And what I mean by that is, here's a clip of Kirby last year.
I didn't execute. He had a good pitch. I wish I wasn't out there for the 7th, to be honest. So I was at 90 pitches, and I didn't think I needed to go anymore, but you know, it is what it is. So
is that a conversation in the dugout, or is it?
It'll be a conversation soon.
Vagina right there, fellas. He did not want to go back out for the 7th inning. You don't want the fucking baseball in your hand. I mean, the very next day he went out and said all the right things, but no, we all know that was the truth that came out of his mouth right there, guys. And the guy's a bitch, and it's hard for me to back bitches. Have I bet Kirby this year? Yes, but you got to force my hand, kid. And I just don't like you personally.
It's that's the old that's what Blake Snell was saying, right? About basically like, I'm going to keep pitching like a bitch until you take me out.
I had to let Blake Snell go for like 12 weeks because of that. I was so upset that he did that to me. And the next guy we're about to talk, I had like a 3-minute video clip, and it said it was too big, so I can't clip it or bring it out. But it's Garrett Cole. What type of fucking pitcher puts up a fucking 4 after hitting the guy in the middle of a fucking no-hitter, and the guy is batting a $117 with 2 blown shoulders, barely going through the motions? Oh, man, dude, Garrett Cole and all the bitch came out of him last week versus the Red Sox, and now he gets the Oakland A's. Striking people out 28% of the time, walking people 7%, excuse me. Morning line 6.5, minus 113 on FanDuel. Best line available. I think it's minus 135. It's crazy that it was even that low, in my opinion. Scared the dog piss out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Cole. Yeah, minus 135 on DraftKings right now. Pitching out 17.5, minus 175 to the over. Earn runs 1.5, minus 160 juice to the over. Projected lineup is 5 righties, 4 lefties. Let's talk him.
Okay, well, over is out for me right off the bat. I can tell you that immediately. Big reason why is, despite well, last game and even the few good games that he had before, Cole is still allowing right at league average for zone contact, and this is actually one of the highest marks of his career. Actually, for 5 straight seasons, he operated in the mid to high 70s, was still under 81% last year, and actually just got himself under league average with his last few starts. And the reason to me why that matters is because he does operate in the zone 50.8% of the time. Now, Oakland is making contact in the zone since August 1st at league average. And they're swinging a lot in the zone as well, 73.8% compared to a league average of 69.5. And you also have a number of guys that are kind of either just slightly above, slightly below that mark. Where you can get this team is when you make them chase. They chase since August 1st. 35.1%, which is above league average of 32.6. But the big thing is the worst chase contact in the league since August 1st, 52.9%, which is almost 10 full percentage points under league average. But given what I saw with Cole last time, and especially when I even just look at some of his advanced metrics, when I see the spin in his pitches, specifically his breaking pitches, was down. And I also see that, there's only a few guys that he's faced in this lineup. I'm not sure that I can get there paying juice on a team in the second leg of a West Coast road trip, going from one town to another. It's minus 145. I'm just not sure that I can get there with Garrett Cole. I thought he was showing promise in that little 3-game stretch from Washington, Texas, and the Cubs, where he had 7.97, cleared his line all 3 times. Then they bump him up, like you said, against Boston, and he just absolutely shits the bed. Only records 13 outs and ends up getting pounded against a division rival that had no business pounding him. So with the zone contact and with some of the increase in zone contact that I'm seeing in the Oakland lineup, more specifically over the last few weeks, I don't want any part of paying minus 140 juice for an over 6.5 for a road pitcher. Now, the other side of that coin is, can I really bet under for the Oakland fucking Athletics against Garrett Cole? Plus 105, plus 110. It's not enough to do it, but I do see what you're seeing, Sharpie, is that the over in this one, because they're making it just enough juice where they can squeeze out every last bit of profit and still get you and still get the casual bettors. Because a lot of like some Twitter cappers will, throw out the minus 160s and minus 170s because they're fucking idiots. But a lot of the ones that I see in the trap range are in that minus 135 to minus 150 range, because it's just enough juice to trap the casuals, and it's not it still squeezes out every last dollar of profit. The plus money on this one, to me, for the 6.5 should probably be more closer to plus 115 to plus 120, but it's not. It's hovering in the plus 105 range on DraftKings and BetMGM, plus 112 on FanDuel. But this to me just seems so trappy. I'm just not sure if I have the cojones to actually take an under on the Athletics against Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I hear you there, but I mean, it's Garrett Cole. And something on the video that I did watch earlier, because I was listening, I was watching it, and I was going to show it and just laugh and make fun of him, was over his last 7 games, he has the 4th best ERA in baseball. Like, you went out there on, I mean, maybe Boston, inside the division, it is what it is. Life's a bitch and you marry one. This is not Boston. This is the Oakland fucking A's, where they've got 2 hitters you really got to worry about in this lineup that's been hitting when we look at their when I look at their stuff. And let's talk about it. They're striking out near 26% of the time. They have a bottom 7 ISO. And to be real, the shit he pulled last week, I really didn't even want to bet this man or even want to even think about betting him. Like I said, once you pull that bitch mode, it's like, bro, how am I supposed to bet on a bitch? But yeah, I have a few questions that I need answered. Like, why such a bettable line on Cole versus a team striking out 26% of the time?
Mhm.
He hit the over, 60% of his last 10, plus taking the A's, how they're striking out. That's 6.5 minus 160 to a 7.5. Red flag number 1 for me. Now, what I did get out of that video that I watched, guys, was he has the 4th best ERA going into that Boston game in the last 7 games in baseball, and he got hit. Okay. Now he's got a team and not hitting in the Oakland A's with a bottom 7 ISO. In Oakland at nighttime, which is like the 2nd best ballpark for an under type spot. In a spot where Garrett Cole is chomping out the bitch to shut everybody the fuck up about last week. Yankees still haven't clinched. I faded them yesterday because they went out and drank like idiots. And even during the video that I watched, like Boone's like, hey, we still haven't clinched yet. And these dudes were sauced and were in the lineup the next day. I cashed the team total under. I'll take it. But this is the time the Yankees show up. This is the time Garrett Cole shows up. Now, is the strikeouts there? That I am a little bit worried about. And when I go through it, like you said, we talk about his metrics this year being league average at certain things that he normally isn't. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck is wrong with you, Garrett Cole? But I went through this lineup projectedly, batter by batter, and it doesn't match up. It does match up actually with their overall numbers. Their overall numbers, metrics, they're bottom 5 in zone contact. They're bottom 5 in chase contact. They're about middle of the pack come to chase. When we go batter by batter in this lineup, we have 2 guys that are better than league average when it comes to zone contact, one of them being a kid. We have 8 guys who have terrible chase contact with 4 guys that don't chase. And chase is a main thing we're going to need here with this guy's strikeout percentages. Yeah, his zone contact numbers are bad, but I believe he's in the zone, only league average. I didn't think it was a crazy amount to where I had to pay too much attention. But everything in his pitch mix told me this should be a slam dunk type of day. They're going to run out lefties versus this guy, 4 of them. And like I said, the only 2 guys actually hitting on this team are Butler and Roker. And I think we got ourselves a spot to back Garrett Cole. So I went half unit Garrett Cole to record the win at a minus 115. I think he comes out, shoves, gives up 2 earned runs or less, and gives it to the bullpen. And again, Jin, call him what you want, bro. He gonna get sauce versus these boys person. So give me Cole in a bounce back spot versus a team not hitting to record the win.
Yep. Yeah, to me that is definitely the safer path, something along those lines, or even earn runs under somewhere in that range. Just when I combine the metrics, when I look at the chase, when I look at everything, and I see, to like your point, I know we both said it, Sharpie, but like to your point too, how bettable that 6.5 is. Oof, they are just leaving it out there for you.
They're
Because
putting it, that's the line, as if the team's not striking out. And
they are just leaving it out there for you and saying, please bet, please bet, please bet. So can he hit 7? Well, of course he can against this lineup. A lot of pitchers can, but man, that looks trappy. So I'm not about to pay juice on a pitcher. I don't care who it is, on a pitcher on the road that looks like it's in a trap spot. I can't do it.
All right. We're going to get to a guy that I probably wouldn't even have talked about today, but like I said, I didn't like today's card. The man next to me loves today's card. When he sent me his list, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, all those guys on your under list today, I didn't even freaking look at it. I was like, this sucks. Probably wouldn't even have looked at Peterson, but the fact that they want to jump him up, oh, man, that tells me I needed to look at him, and I think I figured it out. But we're not here to talk Peterson right now. I will tweet out if I bet Peterson, but we're going to talk Joe Musgrove versus the White Sox. Striking people out 25.5% of the time while walking people 8.5%. Morning line 6.5 plus 115 on MGM. Pitching outs 18.5 minus 215 juice to the under. Earn runs 1.5 minus 145 juice to the under. What the fuck, man? This dude's giving up 1 run or less today. Projected 5 righties, 4 lefties. Let's talk Musgrove.
For the White Sox is they now it's gotten better over the last week or two, but they are a chase team. They usually have 6 to 8 guys in their lineup that chase above league average. Now they do make contact above league average. So how that correlates into Musgrove is Musgrove doesn't get a lot of, or he doesn't really rely on chase contact. He only gets guys to chase 26.5% of the time, which is 2% under pitcher average of 28.5. But when he does, he generates a very, very low chase contact rate, primarily off the strength of his curveball, only allowing 50%, which is 7.8% under pitcher average. So Musgrove has an advantage right there. The second thing is that, to your point, Sharpie, is that he has been at a 6.5 3 times in his last 10, and that was against the Giants, the Tigers, and the Reds. And all 3 he hit 7+. In fact, against the Tigers and the Reds, he hit 8 and 9, and those games were at home, which is where this game is as well. So the fact that his earned runs is only at 1.5 isn't horribly surprising. That's actually, to me, it's actually pretty common when you see pitchers against the White Sox, just because they're overall, I mean, they're just absolutely terrible this year. So, but I look at this and I see that if Musgrove can generate even a league average chase rate in this start, which his last few he definitely has, then his overall lack of chase contact and the lack of familiarity with this team, with this White Sox team with him, because he's only seen a few of them just a few times. He's seen Benintendi 3 times. He's seen Robert twice. He's seen Miguel Vargas 5 times. So like less than 10 plate appearances. So not really much you can draw off of that. But if I get the right lineup about guys who are just going to chase the shit out of the ball, which you get a lot of combos like that with this White Sox team, and I combine that with the history of how he's performed at the 6.5 number, and the fact that his hits are down, his hits prop is down, and as you mentioned, his walks prop, which is absolutely hilarious, at under 1.5 at minus 250. Like, who the fuck would ever bet that? I got to look over here, and I'm not sure that I can go a full unit on it, just because of some of Musgrove's other past history, but man, that 6.5 seems like it's calling me. I need to see a lineup though, but strong lean on the over 6.5 here in a potential smack spot for Musgrove.
Yeah, I'm a little scared personally. Like I hate like even doing the work on guys that I wouldn't even have looked at, because
Yep.
then I then put in a bet and then I'm like, what am I fucking doing? But I'm pretty much right there with you. Like this man right now is being jumped up to a 6.5 versus a team only striking out 21% of the time. They don't do that. They don't jump people up just for shits and giggles, guys. If at worst, if they really wanted to be anything, 5.5 minus 150. But the books are not trying to fuck around right now and even offer a 5.5. For some reason, they want to give you this, which he's only hit 3 of his last 10 games versus a team not striking out. So when we look at Musgrove's plate discipline metrics, like you said, we see some of the best zone contacts he's had in his career. Yet we also see some of the worst chase he's ever had with some solid chase contact. So when I looked at this projected lineup, we have 6 of the 9 who chase worse than league average. Now, something that does scare me is 3 of those guys who do chase have elite chase contact. I mean, more elite than what Joe Musgrove is throwing out by his analytics. So what plays here, guys? The books are telling me it's Joe's over. The chase is telling me it's Joe's over. Yet if I wouldn't even have broke this shit down like I said, guys. So I can't. I couldn't get farther than that because it's like I'm about to bet fucking Joe Musgrove over, and I didn't want to today. So I stopped myself right there. I was like, I should probably let Spin go after that, but I was like, fuck it, I'll just let him talk it. I knew you liked him today anyways, and it's just
Yeah.
like I didn't even want to talk him. So not saying like he's not and everything is telling me he's gonna shove today. Like everything is telling me he's gonna shove today.
In every facet, strikeouts, earned runs, hits, everything. That he's just going to have a hell of a start. That's what the line's
Right.
saying to me.
And I mean, in the way I was like, man, if I was gonna bet this right here, the way it's telling me this guy's going 7 tonight, and they're giving you crazy plus money on the 18.5. We've got a team when I looked at their zone contact, when I looked at their chase, when I looked at their chase contact, I was like, man, Musgrove might have a day today, man, because there's only really I don't see it. So yeah, books are saying he smashes. Doesn't mean he does. Doesn't always mean he does, guys. And that's where I was like, you know what? This ain't my guy. I don't really want to bet Musgrove, and I'm okay with letting him go. Now, I need to figure out how am I going to bet Barrios. I need to pull him down to 5 to something, but yet, it's like everything right now today it just doesn't. I feel like I'm almost forcing something right now, and I don't like that. So, yeah, right now I have a half unit on Garrett Cole to record the win. I think that's a spot I should probably go a full unit on at the more and more I look at today's card and become a vagina. But it's like I want to pull Garrett Cole down to 5 with Barrios, but then it's like, dude, they're fucking baiting you on a 6.5, which means is 6 the number? Am I really flirting with fucking death at the 5? I've got to go look back and see, just look at stuff and see how many times he's had 5 or I don't know. There's just something screaming, and then watch him go out there and hit 9. So, I mean, the books aren't
He-
always right, but at a minus 140 price, when they are right, it hurts.
Yep. Yep. That's well, and that's always what I look at too is that the percentage of time that something like that needs to win at. And if you're betting minus 140, you need to win 58.3% of the time just to break even. So you probably need to actually hit 60, 61, maybe even like a touch higher to beat the inevitable juice. So man, if with this line and how trappy this looks, can I really say that I think there's a 60 to 63% chance that Cole is going to go out there and hit 7? So like would he hit this 6 to 7 times out of 10 if you ran it in the same thing? I don't know if he does. I think he goes 50-50. I think it's 5 and 5, in which case you're taking the worst of it. And so maybe you get lucky and he does, but that's the way that I look at some of these borderline ones, especially the ones that are juiced, is what's my break even rate? What's my profit or what's my break even percentage needed? And it's like, is that really makes sense about Garrett Cole going out there and 61 to 62% of the time going out and getting 7 tonight? All things considered, I don't think there is. I think you're looking at about 50-50. So on a 50-50 shot, I ain't paying juice. Now you can say, then you could look at the other side and you could say, well, spend then the under is plus money. So wouldn't that be EV? Well, it would technically if you're going just straight by, like if you think it's a 50-50 shot. Looking at some of the chase contact with this, if Cole has some of his chase pitches working, like this man next to me said, he could easily rack up 8 to 9. So I think that Cole's line is probably priced extremely appropriately, and like most book lines, to maximize their profit no matter what happens. So it's one where in the end, I don't have a strong enough feeling either way to take either side of it. So I have no problem just throwing it out then.
Yeah, I think the guy I'm hooking him up to is going to be Charlie Morton. The more and more I look at this
Yeah.
lineup over
No,
here.
I get it.
I look at Morton's last 10 games. He hasn't had but 6 or less in 2 games, and that was Milwaukee and the Mets. Okay. I'm taking you to 5, punk. And I like the way they built this lineup. Now it sucks that he hasn't gotten Berger in his life, but Sanchez damn near half the time. Stowers is going to be half the time. Conane's half the I can get 5 off of those 3 bitches right there. Granted, I do have him getting more than that. I wouldn't bet it. But Garrett Cole's just doesn't seem right. I don't want to bet to go 50-50. I'm not here to do that. I would like to put one fucking alt parlay in and just let it go. The other day I hooked Sale up to a bunch of guys because I looked at Sale as he should have a fucking monster day. And I was like, oh, okay, well, Rocker's worst day is 4. Flaherty's worst day 6. No, 5. But those were just me doing that. Now, Barrios, I'm not gonna do that with. I'm gonna load up on one alt parlay and let it fucking ride, man. And yeah, look to get in live probably on Barrios as well. So depending on how the first or second inning goes. So appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Smash that damn like button if you haven't. There's only 2 more shows left in the damn year. It's almost playoff time. If your team's not in it, you can watch my team. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, Spin Doc, let them know what you got going on, where they can find you.
At Spin Doc Sports, follow me. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on in our VIP too, with fantasy, with NFL. Tons of NFL stuff going. 2 weeks, 2 NFL weeks, 2 profitable NFL weeks for props, and for fantasy advice, stuff like that. So DFS, I know I've had a number of VIP members cash off of my DFS plays. So if that interests you, yeah, hit me up. Would love to work with you.
I'm so ready to take a break after baseball. Like, I'm not gonna cap football like that. Or I know you
Yeah.
get into college. I mentally, for my own health, told myself, like, you can't do this year round no more, bro. I already had a heart attack. I'm like, what am I gonna do? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take me a nice little 4 or 5 month break. I'll watch football. I'll bet it a little bit, but I'm not gonna get absurdly into it. I'm gonna enjoy it and relax and enjoy this Middle Tennessee and find me a nice little Southern Belle. And yeah,
I'm yeah, I'm too stupid to stay away. NFL leads right into college basketball, which is actually after baseball, my most profitable sport.
man,
So
postseason's been really good for me too. So it's not
oh
like I
yeah,
plan on
absolutely.
slowing down. Like postseason,
Postseason
bro.
MLB has been gold.
Right. So it's like I can't wait for the postseason when I switch from strikeouts to outs and unders.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's
But
gonna be fun. Give me
yeah,
15.5 pitching outs again. Please. Please. Like, I can't wait for the playoffs. It's a
yeah.
beautiful thing. Well, guys, until next time, like I said, smash the like. Don't do homoerotic stuff. And yeah, all that good stuff. It's bad for you.